I always say, look to be a cheerful spot in someone's life, because you might be that one person that's a pick me up that they needed just at that moment.
Mm,
Even if you don't know them, even if you don't know them well, man, you just never know what someone's going through and how you being positive can affect them.
mm. That's such good stuff.
There is something special inside you.
Welcome to GNG Podcast with your host, speaker, best-selling author, Chaz Jackson.
What's going on, kings and queens? It's your boy Chaz Jackson coming back to you once again, representing GNG Gift and a Gift. Hey, our persons want to take the time to tell each and every one of you, thank you for giving me your eyes and your ears once again as we ready to dive deep into some inspiration that I pray will plant like a seed in your mind and assist you in becoming a greater version of yourself. So you guys in for a treat. We got my guy, Victor Neal. He is in the building, ready to shine his light on the thing God always have a plan, whether you know it or not. So go ahead and get your pen, your paper ready. Again, I never steer you wrong by saying that, family, as we get ready to provide tips and techniques for young men as they strive to grow in personal development. And I know there's a ton of teachers, coaches, parents who are tuning into GNG podcast today. You know this, that we're all gifted differently to make a difference, and no one is too small to be a difference maker right now. So again, you guys are in for a treat. I'm ready to get King Vic on, but I want to go over the mission statement of this platform, and it is to encourage people to take the daily challenge of becoming a passionate visionary who is determined to leave a legacy for themselves by adopting unwavering life values and serving others in an area of gifting led by God. So that's the daily challenge that I'm taking, family. I want you guys to come alongside me, you giants of individuals, difference makers, to take that daily challenge alongside with me and my guy, Vic. We're going to go ahead and read off this bio and get the show rolling. Victor is a vice president of marketing and development for Hope Farm, a local leadership program here in Fort Worth, Texas, guiding at-risk fatherless boys to become Christ-centered men of integrity. I'm telling you, this guy is doing some amazing things with his organization, Hope Farm, and I'm excited to introduce him to each and every one of you guys tuning in right now. Are you ready to get it, King Victor?
I'm ready, bro. I'm ready. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I know what I shared was just short and sweet. Is there anything else you would like the audience to know about yourself?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, I'm not from around here, man. I grew up overseas. I'm a military brat. Grew up in Central America. My mother is from Panama. My dad retired down there, so that's where I spent a lot of my formative years. And I say a lot, and I mean all of them. I lived there from 18 months until I turned 21 years old, man, and came here. So when I moved to Fort Worth, it was a kind of a culture shock because it was so different. The culture was different. The people are different. I really struggled to fit in, man. And I swear I was going to leave this place when I graduated. Well, that was 1990, and here I am. I'm still here. This place grew on me. I love Fort Worth. It's a great town. A lot happening, a lot going on here, and just being blessed to do what I do and to get the chance to meet people like you, man.
Most definitely. And thank you for sharing that a little bit more. And I know, as far as the theme of this show, we're saying that it's God always has a plan. God always has a plan, whether you know it or not. Now, when you hear that, Victor, what does that mean to you?
It means there are a lot of things that in my life that I don't understand that later on I do. They get explained. But on the flip side of that, it means to me there's a lot in my life that I don't have control over. So don't even bother to stress it. Just go with your feeling. Follow what God is sending your way. A lot of times it's hard to know. For example, me coming to Hope Farm, I never thought I'd work at Hope Farm. I didn't know much about Hope Farm until I ended up here. And it was definitely some sort of divine inspiration that got me here. But again, and it's really hard to do, man. Everyone stresses out. You always try to figure out what your next move is, which you should do. But sometimes you got to know that it's not up to me. It's up to the man upstairs. So let me just follow what he wants for me.
I love that. And I know you're vice president in marketing development at Hope Farm. Share a little bit more. I know what I shared earlier was short and sweet, but go into that a little bit more. How did you get connected with Hope Farm and your vision moving forward here in 2021 with that whole program?
Sure. So, Hope Farm is right off of the freeway. We've got a gym, a 2-story building. That's a gym on the bottom, classrooms up top. But it's hard to miss because we've got I-35, you've got Access Road, and then Hope Farm is there. So if you live in Fort Worth for any amount of time, you're going to drive by our spot. And I had done that many times and did not know what Hope Farm was until I had a mutual friend who, his wife works here, still works with me. His name is Brian Estridge, and Brian does WBAP radio in the morning, but he also does all the play-by-play for TCU men's basketball and for football. Brian hosts the coaches show. He's a popular guy. And Brian is the one that kind of introduced me to Hope Farm. And he told me, and again, I never thought I would come here, especially to be a fundraiser. My background is marketing, specifically web marketing, social media. So when Brian approached me and said, hey, my friend Gary Randall, who was one of the co-founders of Hope Farm, he said, Gary needs a fundraiser. So I thought, okay, that's great. Do you need me to recommend somebody? And he said, no, I think you're the man for that job. And I said, well, that's not what I do, but tell me more. So living in Fort Worth, and I had worked at TCU for a long time when Brian approached me. When you live here, you go to TCU and you work there, you get to meet a lot of people in this town because there are a lot of TCU grads. And if they're not, they're TCU fans, just because it's a big part of Fort Worth. So when Brian introduced me to Gary, I still didn't think Hope Farm was the place for me, man. And Gary told me to come out and meet these young men. Now, at the time, Chaz, I only had two boys. Since then, I've had a third. So I thought, you know what? Yeah. So we take boys as young as 5 and hopefully get to keep them through high school graduation, just to pour into them, leadership. We do Bible study on a daily basis. We feed the kids dinner every day. And we provide opportunities and mentoring that they really need. And chances are in this neighborhood, they're not going to get it somewhere else. Another big thing we provide for them, Chaz, is a reading program. Because you probably know 2/3 of kids who are not reading to grade level at the end of 4th grade will end up on welfare or in prison or both.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, and that's why we like to get these young men as young as possible because they're a lot more malleable at 5 than they are, say, 13. Because I don't know about you, but I know what a knucklehead I was when I was a teenager. Didn't want to hear nothing from my parents. I had a great relationship with my parents, but I think, a lot of kids, boys in particular, think they know better, think they know everything. So being able to sit in and stand in for these young men, stand in for the missing male role models in their lives has been powerful. But long story short, how I got here was Gary told me to come out and see these young men. And when you first meet them, especially the young ones, you can't help but be moved by them. So if you ever come to Hope Farm and you've been out here, man, you see how the kids, they come up to you, they introduce themselves, they shake your hand.
It's such a great environment.
Yeah, and they're so excited, man, to see other people, especially other males who are coming out here on their own time to meet them, interact with them. So these boys, they'll come up to you and introduce themselves and start a conversation with you. And it's really heartwarming and moving. And then there were some other things that made it obvious to me that this is where God wanted me. And that was, been here almost 5 years now. So like I said, I've got a third boy now. So it's just really, it's been tremendously rewarding to know what I get from my boys when I get home, knowing that these young men don't have that in their lives. It makes it real. It's just really rewarding when we know that we're doing something to help make their lives and change the future trajectory of their lives in a positive way.
And for the audience, that percentage, could you say that again? 2/3?
Yeah. So 2/3 of kids who are not reading to grade level by the end of 4th grade will end up in prison or on welfare. And unfortunately, Chaz, there's a direct correlation.
It's so powerful based off that percentage and how you guys are reversing that and helping those kids make better decisions. So that's really good.
Yeah, and if you look at other statistics, there's a direct correlation between that reading, that percentage of kids who are reading at the end of fourth grade, and then future prison populations. So there is a direct connection there. And that's what we're trying to do, man. When Gary Randall and Noble Crawford started this ministry 30 years ago, they knew that we can't get these guys out of prison, but what can we do to keep them from going to prison? So that's why it's so important that they're reading to grade level, because if not, the outlook is not all that great.
I totally agree with everything that you shared. And guys, Frederick Douglass popped in my head. He said, it's easy to build strong children, but even harder to fix broken men. So Hope Farm is building strong children. So when they get to our age, you know, they're not having to crawl out of the mud so much. You know, obviously we can't keep them from all what the world can throw at them, but if we can tap into their mindset and allow them to get more clarity, to get more focus and get more consistent on making healthy choices in their lives. And that's what I so love about Hope Farm. And when we met, I was like, gosh, my audience needs to hear about what you guys are doing and just get those golden nuggets that you've been sharing about how can we impact our young men. I just feel like it's so paramount. And thank you so much for what you do there at Hope Farm. And I know, so there's parents, teachers, coaches just listening right now, Victor. You know, the motto of this show is we're all gifted differently to make a difference. And I truly believe that no one is too small to be a difference maker right now. So I know there's young men, people listening that they have, you know, the ability to be mentors or coaches, be a teacher. Is there a tip or technique that you can provide for them to really engage with that young male on letting him know, hey, you are gifted differently to make a difference? There is greatness inside you because greatness made you. Is there something that you can share to them to encourage them to keep pressing forward and growing that young man up to be Christ-centered with integrity?
Sure. What I tell people to know is you just never know what someone else is going through. You never know, you know, we all have our crosses to bear, and you never know on the outside, especially when you first meet somebody, you don't know what they're going through. Someone may have just, you know, I tell people, like in traffic, people have road rage. Somebody cuts you off, someone's distracted, which it can be a problem. But a lot of times, man, that person may have just found out they have cancer. They may have just found out someone passed away or someone is suffering. So before you react in a negative way, if there's a way to find out what someone is going through, and that's the same thing with mentoring. These young men that are here on our campus, and I see them every day. And some days they're in real good moods, and some days they're not. So when I first started working here, you know, my initial thought was, hey, man, why is this kid acting like that? That's not the Hope Farm way. Then I realized it's really not about me and what I think. It's about, hey, what's going on in their home life? Because a lot of these kids have seen physical abuse. They've seen drug use. They've seen their moms prostituting themselves. And just think about a young man and his mind, what goes through that, especially when you add in peer pressure and what some other kids might be saying or thinking, social media and the effect of it. It's so easy for these kids to get down. So I always say, you know, look to be a cheerful spot in someone's life, because you might be that one person that's a pick-me-up that they needed just at that moment. Even if you don't know them, even if you don't know them well, man, you just never know what someone's going through and how you being positive can affect them.
That's such good stuff, guys. Hopefully whoever's listening right now, you got your pen and paper, you're taking some copious notes. If not, it's okay. You can hit pause. All right. And rewind that back. That was so much gems there. And I truly believe what you're talking about. You know, you don't know what someone else is going through, and it's being there and giving that hope. It really makes a difference. And just being an ear, you know, I feel like the Lord gives us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, you know, listening to these kids and and allowing them to have a voice, you know, right in their situation. So yeah, that couldn't have been better put, Victor. And lastly, let's say if that young man's listening to you right now, because we do have young men that listen to GNG right now and they're needing some hope, some encouragement. Is there a word that you have for them?
Just keep that head up, man. God works in mysterious ways, and sometimes you don't know what's coming next. So just keep striving, being the best person that you can be, and you'll be rewarded for that. So I know a lot of times people can get down, or you know what, do something good in someone else's life and see how that turns around and affects you. Because in working for a small nonprofit like I do, I know how rewarding it can be when you're doing something positive in someone else's life, man. So if something's got you down, maybe that's what you need. Maybe you need to get out and find someone and help make their life better, because in return, that can make you feel so much better and so much more fulfilled in your own life, knowing that you're making a difference. I don't care how old, how young you are. And that's the thing, man. We've got young men 5 all the way through high school graduation up here, and you don't know who's gonna have an impact on them. Is it gonna be a grandfather? Is it gonna be a father? Is it gonna be another kid their age that just comes out here for a volunteer opportunity and makes that connection with them, man?
Wow, dude, just drop the mic right there. Dude, that was good stuff. That really is. And I think it was John Maxwell. He uses, the analogy of a candle, lighting a candle, and you can be an influence candle to light someone else and giving them that hope.
Yes, sir.
Whether it's that one teacher, if you can remember that one teacher that helped you get a better grade, or that one coach that helped you at practice, or that one person that just made you feel better when you was down. They lit your candle because their candle was lit. So, and I truly believe, man, me serving in my area of gifting, it means so much more when someone else smiles and say, "Hey, thank you. That really helped me." That is such a fulfilling experience that comes out of that, versus me just doing things just for Chaz. Because there was one point in my life where it was just about me. And it wasn't until I became a husband, I became a father, and God put me in these positions to be leaders in young people's lives. It was my legacy turned to not just being about me, but it's more like, man, what am I going to leave for them? And so that's more fulfilling for me, and I'm sure you agree with that, based off of what you shared, and whatever young man. I feel like there's a huge application standpoint that we can take, as well as teachers and the coaches, parents who's listening to us right now. Serving others, there is fulfillment in that. So, I encourage you to find that one individual that maybe be having a rough time, that they're expressing it outwardly, just leaning out a hand, or however the case may be. You can draw the line and plug in the blank, right? But be that candlelight of influence in other people's lives. That is big. But Victor, this has been a fruitful conversation. I know there's someone on here is like, I want to know more about Hope Farm. I want to know how to get in contact with you, your organization, and see how they can plug in and volunteer, support. Can you share your contact information with the audience and how we can reach you?
Sure. The easiest way is to find us on Facebook, or to go to our website, which is just hopefarm.org. And from there, you can find ways to volunteer. You can find more about the programming that we offer. You can find ways, if you are interested in the program, or somebody who might be interested in the program. Because the other thing I didn't mention, Chaz, is we have resources for the mothers here too. So when the boys are in the program, the moms have got to be involved too. We require it. And what ends up happening is the moms start to be, they start to get to know one another, and they become a little support group. So yeah, a website and Facebook is probably the easiest ways to find us, because like I said, it's just hopefarm.org, or just go to Facebook and look for Hope Farm.
Dude, thank you for sharing that information. And again, your time is definitely valued. This has been such a fruitful conversation. And man, I'm definitely a supporter of Hope Farm. Keep doing what you're doing, allowing God to use you as a conduit to empower these young men to be greater for their generation. And again, thank you for your time, Vic.
Hey, I appreciate it. And the last thing I want to say, Chaz, is I want to give props to you, because you are one person who really practices what you preach, man. You are always positive. I mean, I remember the first day I met you. We were dropping kids off. It was the first. It was not even the first day of daycare. It was the orientation, and I looked up and I was like, man, who's this positive brother over here? And what was that? Maybe 6 weeks ago. And I feel like I've known you for a long time now, man. And I know when I see Chaz at drop off, he's going to be positive, man. So the same thing that we talk about, I think you embody that. And the fact that you have this platform and you're sharing it and you're speaking out is amazing. It's amazing, man. And I appreciate everything. And I look forward to more conversations with you and getting to know you better, man. And again, thanks for having me and talking Hope Farm.
Yes, man. That means so much to me. Thank you. Thank you for saying those words. And for whoever's listening right now, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. But I want you to stay with GNG. More episodes coming soon. I want you to do two things for me, family. Keep that crown on your heart. And please remember this. We are God's echo. I love each and every one of you. Peace.